Hello everyone, Alex the RC Freak here, coming at you with another video of revo Brushless 2.0, my unboxing on it. So I've always been a huge fan of the revo Brushless Edition original. I love that truck. I have a heavily modified one. Awesome truck. It's just you can't hold the diffs together on 6S LiPo power. Even on 4S LiPo power on the original revo Brushless Edition, the differentials just weren't up to par with even 4S power. So the new release of the revo Brushless 2.0, the diffs look to be very well made. They are not X-Max diffs. Let me just state that again. They are not X-Max diffs. They are a different differential completely. They are not X-Max. The brushless system, just to clarify this for everybody, the brushless system is 100% Traxxas manufactured. It is not a Castle Creations system. So I don't know who in the hell can possibly think the speed control looks like a Mamba Monster 2. It does not. At least to me, it does not. So it is 100% Traxxas engineered brushless and speed control system. Personally, in my opinion, I've never even driven this yet. Personally, in my opinion, the stock speed control is garbage. It's Traxxas electronics. I mean, what can you say, really? So, you know, I don't know. Maybe Traxxas has stepped up their game with this one to really try to compete. So, with the other brands out there. I'm not going to get into that, by the way. So, anyway, thanks for watching. I sincerely appreciate anyone and everybody who's taken a few minutes of their time to watch this unboxing. So, let's get to it. So, basically what you got here is the truck. It has a torque biasing center drive. So, inside the transmission is another differential, which Traxxas refers to it as a torque biasing center drive. So what that basically is basically a center differential. But the thing about this is their center drive unit, the torque biasing center drive unit, is it has 20 million please excuse me for that, diff fluid in it. So it has 20 million weight diff fluid. I think Traxxas hit it right on the ball on that. Because personally, I hate center differentials. They make your front tires balloon to crazy, and people that are wussies about RCs braking like them. But me personally, I think 20 million Traxxas actually did it right. So that way it's basically locked, but it has just enough give in the differential and the training to where, you know, if you landed hard, it would help the drivetrain out. This truck has steel axles, constant velocity on the tire side. It's constant velocity, and over towards the differential side where the outdrive goes is a dog bone style. That's my personal favorite on RC vehicles, in my personal opinion. So the differentials are 4 gears, spider gear, so they're way stronger than the old style, which was 2 spider gears, and then you have 2 drive out gears for the inside the differential cup. It just looks to be beast. I mean, there's this box with all the there's a torque biasing center drive. The hubs have a bigger bearing on the inside. The outer bearing is slightly bigger also. And this shaft in the center here, is 8 millimeters. So this bearing right here on the outside is bigger, and this one is a little bit bigger to accommodate that bigger shaft. This is the torque biasing center drive. These are the GTR shocks. These are not new shocks. Let me state that as a fact. These are the Revo Nitro 2.5 Revo shocks with the aluminum shock bodies. They did nothing to the shocks. They just brought old shocks they already had and put them on here instead of the gray ones. So they look like they're new. They're not. It is a new front and rear bulkhead, upper and lower halves on the new bulkheads. And then the chassis is redesigned to be lower CG. The transmission sits an inch lower in the chassis than the original one. So the bulkheads are stronger. The A-arms are thicker. All steel transmission gears, which I do like that. It has the X-Max style spur gear set up on it. The actual spur gears for the X-Max will fit on the Revo now, which I actually kind of like that. The gearing for this vehicle for the whole drivetrain is Mod 1 gear pitch, which I think is awesome because Mod 1 is a really strong gear pitch. I really personally like that gear pitch a lot. And this is all obviously the differential, very nicely done. So this is the rig in the green version because green's green. But anyway, let's get this open for you here. So let me just tip it on its side here. Let me stick it on, stick it on back like this. And, you know, I just picked this up from my local hobby shop. Let me tell you something. I was the first person to pre-order on this. First person to pick it up. Yes. Pretty excited about it. Like, I couldn't stand myself here. So anyway, slicing that open. Putting the cover over my X-Acto knife blade because it is important. Because I've stabbed my finger with that, and let's just say that didn't end too well. So, anyway, let's pull this out. It's upside down. I'm not going to tell you what color it is yet. You guys will have to find out. So obviously, I got the... Alright, hold on here. Sorry about this. Alright, so let me just... This is about as tight as it gets to get in the box here. Okay, so basically, as you can see, here's the radio. So basically, you got your TSM adjustment. Let me get up a little closer for you. So this is your Traxxas stability management adjustment right here. So this little knob is at 0, which is 50%. So if you turn it all the way to your left, you turn it off completely. If you turn it all the way to your right, you turn it all the way up. Now, keep in mind, if you do the Traxxas stability management, if you turn this all the way up, for example, if you ever upgraded your steering servo, or even the stock servos, for example, if you have this turned all the way up, it can cause your steering to be all jittery, because it's over correcting on every slight little adjustment. So, just something to note. So, anyway, I actually like driving it turned off, but it has a foam pad around the steering wheel here. The nice steering wheel rim looks okay. Now, this truck has self-righting. That's one of the biggest things about this truck, is it has self-righting. So, what you do is there's a set button here, and there's a menu button here. You press and hold the set button for 4 seconds, and then the truck will rock itself. Personally, I think if you're too lazy to actually physically walk to go pick up your RC, just don't do the hobby. Seriously, if you're that lazy, really, I'm just saying, it's one of those things that irritate me, because you always get those people that always complain about some drivetrain issue with the RC vehicle because it does that. So basically what it does is it full throttles itself and then slams on the brakes, kind of thing. The ESC controls that, but it stops the tires, and that motion of doing that, rocking, will flip the vehicle over. I think it's one of the stupidest things Traxxas could ever do. I'm never going to use it. I won't use it. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's how you do it if you're wanting to do it. I'm not trying to offend anyone if they do use it. It's just, seriously, if you have diff problems, then don't complain if you use it. Simple as that. And then this is your steering trim. So if your steering's off center, you use this to center it. But just getting that out of the way here. And then also, you guys got the instruction manual. These are the battery hold downs. These little plastic pieces here are battery hold downs. And these are also for the battery compartment, to take up the slack of your batteries, whatever batteries you run. So I'm going to be running 6S. That's all I ever run in my rigs that take 2 batteries, a 6S or 8S. I usually don't run 8S too much just because it's stupid power. But yeah, this is the instruction manual. Yeah. And then, aren't you glad I didn't get green this time? I had to throw that in there. But yeah, so basically what we got here is this got the truck right here. This green body, you got this little latch system. You just turn that to the side and then pull up. Now, the thing with this body, when you're pulling up with this body, don't yank it way up like that. Just pull it up just enough to clear the fin on the back, and it'll slide right out. Now, I will say, this body, you gotta make sure, because a lot of people don't do it. Make sure you get this section right here tight, and then slide it in. And then make sure the sides of the bodies ain't catching on the body. So you want to slide it in. So obviously, I didn't get in that groove. It takes a little bit of skill. There we go. See? It pops in the groove. Just take the body, because it catches. These sides catch. So you take the body and do that, and then lock it, and it locks. And it's locked. Oh, it's not locked. So there we go. There we go. That locked. There we go. Yeah, that's locked. But yeah, that's how you get the body in. You know, as obviously I'm still getting used to it. I'm not saying I'm perfect. No one is. But yeah, that's just so you know. Just make sure you really, because there's not a lot of room right here to keep it tight. Make sure you just really get it tight in there. Because see this gap right here? That gap? It's nice and tight. So these bumpers are black. The suspension is ridiculously soft, in my opinion. But it's very smooth, believe it or not. These push rods are bigger. Let me take that off here for you. Okay, so basically let me get you up close with this thing. So let me just get you up close so we can see the rig vehicle a little better. Here, huh? Okay, so basically, what you got here is the speed control. You get so this is the speed control. This is the 2,200 kV brushless motor. It's running the new style Traxxas male plugs. This supposedly is 10 gauge wire. To me, it looks like 12 gauge with thicker plastic insulation surrounding the actual wire itself. The receiver box has this little rubber grommet on it. I don't know how well you can see it. Let me try to get up closer for you. But yeah, this receiver has a little rubber grommet here. This is a brace that connects to the rear shock tower here, and I really like that design. The only thing it may be kind of a pain is getting these shocks out, but if you take off this rocker right here, you don't need, it's an unnecessary to take this off. And if you take off this rocker, unplug it from here and here, and that bolt right there, and the shock should slide right out the back. So anyway, and also if you do notice, these shock shafts are not titanium nitrate coated. And if you look at them, see how they're silver, they're shiny silver right there? If I can get my little thing out of the way. But yeah, the shock shaft right there, it's not titanium nitrate coated. So what I mean by that is, spoiler alert, first upgrade, titanium nitrate coated shock shafts from MIP, and these are hardened steel, high quality. Yeah, I picked these up from my local club shop. These are titanium nitrate coated. That's what they look like. So just so you know. But anyway, I'm putting those on there because like I always do, this is brand new. I'm going to completely take it apart. I'm going to clean the differentials and automobile parts cleaner solvent and make sure, you know, the parts are all squeaky clean. I'm going to completely take apart the tranning, take apart the torque biasing center drive, refill it with 20 million diff fluid and the torque biasing center drive. The front and rear differentials bone stock have 30,000 weight differential fluid in them. The shocks have 30 weight shock oil in them, front and rear. I'm going to change the shock fluid to like 60, 70 weight and put stiffer springs in the back also. So if you want to stay with me and stay on this channel, subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. I'm going to be doing a complete teardown step by step with this thing of what I do, what I look for when I get a new RC. Because usually when I get a new RC, I completely take it apart. Actually, every time I get a new RC, let me rephrase that. I completely take it apart make sure everything is well lubricated, correctly greased. The diffs are properly filled. The transmission is correctly greased and shimmed correctly. I've had a few rigs that weren't. So anyway, but yeah, this truck's pretty nice. It has, you know, different wheels. The actual steering knuckle hub here. Let's see if I can get a better picture of that. But yeah, if you notice, this steering knuckle hub right here, this bearing right here, that bearing, it's a little bit bigger right here, right in the diameter of that. So this diameter right here on the plastic is a little bigger. This bearing is bigger. Obviously this shaft is steel. This shaft is really beefy looking. I really like that. These A-arms are way thicker. These body posts are completely transferable to the old style Revo. Just so everyone knows also, it looks to be the Wheelie Bar from the original e-Revo will work. So, just saying. But yeah, so, you know, this has a front cover right here for the shocks, which really is nice. It really beefens up the front of the chassis, I think. The battery box, the doors, I guess you could say, they are different. They are different. So this little hole right here is bigger for the wires. This little hole is way bigger. So that means you don't have to cut it. Plus it has this little lip. If you notice, it has this little lip around the edge here. This little lip. So it has dual steering servos. These are 2075 steering servos. I'm pretty sure these are plastic gears. Please don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I'm pretty sure these are plastic gears. They're 125 ounces of torque each. So 250 ounces of torque total. So for both servos, which isn't terrible, because I think what makes this thing steer okay, it's not lightning fast like the box may say, is there's two servos to help support each wheel. So it makes it a little bit easier. So it doesn't steer terrible with these servos. They're not the longest lasting servos under like abuse for, like, example, jumping, hard jumps, landing badly on jumps, you know. So I'm going to change it out eventually to a Servox 1230 SG, 500 ounces of torque at 6 volts. So anyway, but yeah, this is the truck right here. I think it's an awesome truck. Let me show you something. Let me flip this thing over. So yeah, sorry about that, but trying to do one-handed here. But yeah, basically what you got here is you got a new front skid plate. So it's kind of the same style as the old one there. These are the outdrive cups. Look how beefy those are. Just, I mean, look at that. They're huge. These are the outdrive cups right here. Those are just beefy. So anyway, here's your steering servo bell crank right here. It has a servo saver spring in the center of it. That's the bolt to access it. But what I like is there's 2 bolt holes right here. I think that's very important because it helps keep this part structurally strong, so that way it doesn't flex like that when you go over jumps. And if you notice, what's new on this chassis also is these little braces right here. These little braces, and then right around the edge of this is thicker. I'm going to be dyeing this black. Please post in the comments below if you would like me to do a video on how I dye plastic parts. Now everyone has their own way of doing it, but please comment in the comment section below if you would like me to do a dyeing video. And now please comment as soon as you possibly see this video if you would like me to do one. I'd be more than happy to do one and kind of show you guys what I do. So anyway, let's get on with it. But yeah, this center section right here is new. It has a plastic center drive lines, which is not that big of a deal. They're pretty tough. They're bigger in diameter around, but this little cover right here, this is how you get the plastic rear center drive line loose from the transmission output. So there's a little transmission output shaft on the torque biasing center drive right here, and you loosen this cover off and you can loosen that grub screw or that pin screw so you can slide that center drive shaft back just enough to get the transmission out. So just saying that so everyone knows. If you notice on this rear skid plate here, there's a little bit of a catch right there, but it's still pretty smooth. But they brought the skid plate, instead of stopping right here like the old Revo did, they brought it all the way down and bolted it to that center skid, so it reinforces it just a little bit, which is nice. There's the back of it. You know, these rod ends are a lot longer, threaded part right here. These rod ends right here, the threaded part is a lot longer. Now these tires, these are the EXT, Talon EXT. Now they're not exactly perfectly the same tread pattern, but they're almost identical. So the tread blocks, which these are the tread blocks is what I mean. These tread blocks are way deeper than the original. So, yeah. And I like how it has the servo guards to really keep the servos protected, the servo horns protected. But yeah, now the bulkheads are pretty easy to get to now. You don't have to take apart the whole front of the truck. You just take off these skid plates, and there's a upper half to these bulkheads, and you just pop that out and you can get the diff out in a matter of minutes. So it's really, really nice. I like that a lot. Now, if you do notice too, these battery trays, how I said they were different, if you notice see how square this is, that little edge is? The original Revo, those weren't like that. So these are square. This has a little round lump here to probably reinforce the screw from going in, just to mention. So that's just something I keep my eyes out. That's kind of what I look for on RCs. I look for durability pretty as much as I can. Let me just flip this over for you. But yeah, and also this has the fixed gearing, so you have to use different pinions if you want to change the gearing, and you also have to use different pinions and a different spur gear if you want to change gearing. So you just do it with those 3 holes. You got this hole and then those 2 holes right there, and your gearing's fixed, so that way you get perfect gear mesh. You don't have to mess around with adjusting the gear. Makes it easier for beginners. And then this is the wing. The wing's pretty durable. But yeah, this truck is a pretty neat little truck, I have to say. But like I say, thank you for watching the video. I greatly appreciate it. If you guys want to subscribe to the channel, please let me know in the comments if you guys would like me to do a video on how to dye plastic parts. If you guys would not like that, if you guys aren't interested in that, that's fine, I understand. But yeah, anybody who watches this video, anyone at all, if you want to see a dye video, because I'm going to completely take this thing apart, that's one thing I recommend. Check the wheel nuts. You know, I can guarantee, this being a Traxxas product, their quality control is not that good. I love Traxxas vehicles, don't get me wrong. But what I mean by their quality control isn't that good, I mean on fluid wise. Like the shocks being filled correctly and bleeded all the air out correctly. I'm talking right out of the box, correctly stuff. The differential cups are not fully filled with differential fluid most of the time. I'm not saying every single time, most of the time, like 90% of the time. So I'm just saying stuff like that. Usually training gears are put together dry. There's hardly any grease at all on them. I'm not afraid to use grease. I'm not saying cake it with grease to where the gears can't move, but at least do a generous amount of grease on the gear teeth. I think it is important. So anyway, that's just what I do. That's kind of things I look for. Check all these screws to make sure they're tight. The rod end screws, these shock shafts have a nut, a 5.5 millimeter nut on the inside of these shocks, pistons. That nut I find a lot on a lot of different RC manufacturers that make shocks where the pistons bolts down to the shock shaft. I find that a lot, that those nuts are loose a lot. For example, my X-Max, those nuts were all loose on them. They're like 2.5 turns loose. So the piston's moving like that. Whenever you work the shock, the piston moves and then the shafts move. So that's just something to note. That's why I completely take apart my RCs. Yes, you have to buy differential fluid if you don't have it already. And yes, you have to buy shock fluid if you don't have it already. Or grease if you don't have it already, if you're a first timer. And I understand people that are just getting started in this hobby may not know how to completely take apart the vehicle. They may not have that experience. Please, if you have any questions, let me walk you through it. I'm not kidding. I'll be more than happy to help anybody you know, with putting together the rig or taking it apart, or, you know, I'm just doing regular servicing. You know, it is very important. So that's all I'm saying. I love this hobby just like a lot of you folks that are watching this video right now love this hobby. So it is my passion. So please, if anyone has any questions, please let me know. If you like the video, like the video. If you don't like the video, you know what to do. But yeah, I just want to kind of share my knowledge with everyone, you know, and kind of show them, you know, the way I like to do RC. So, you know, I'm not saying my way is perfect, but, you know, I just share my knowledge with everyone else and hopefully keep this hobby going for a very long time. It's a blast, you know. So, yeah. But, like I say, if you guys want to see a dying video, please just post in the comments below that, hey, I'd like to see a dying video, or just, yes, please, I'd like to see a dying video, how you dye chassis or how you dye plastic RC parts. And you can use any dye color you want. You can use blue, red, you know, whatever. And, you know, the only part I'm dyeing is this gray right here. So, and these gray rocker parts. So, anyway, yeah. I'm going to dye them black because I think Traxxas should be doing that already, but obviously they don't. But no big deal. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. It is sincerely appreciated. And hopefully everyone has a beautiful day. Alright, thank you. Alex RC Freak out. Peace.